Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna louder please Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Bolo Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama नाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Hare Krishna. So, welcome back. I hope everyone had sufficient prasadam, or a little bit insufficient prasadam, so you stay awake during the remainder of the seminar. Our focus for this part is going to be talking about the content of Srimad Bhagavatam and what makes it so special from the perspective of content. Hopefully with the first part you got a good idea of the other features that make it important and useful. Now we'll focus on the content, but before we start I want to read the Srila Prabhupada's preface to Srimad Bhagavatam. So before the introduction is very masterful, it's quite substantial, and it has the whole biography of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the introduction. So, but the preface is quite short, and it's one of my favorite passages written by Srila Prabhupada. It's, I think, so elegant and so beautiful, almost poetic in the way that he writes this. And it's also very useful to give to someone, to introduce them to what Krishna consciousness is all about. He really wrote it with the broadest possible audience in mind. So it's just 2 pages, and I want to read it for you. Please try to focus and listen carefully to what Prabhupada is saying. We must know the present need of human society. And what is that need? Human society is no longer bounded by geographical limits to particular countries or communities. Human society is broader than in the Middle Ages, and the world tendency is toward one state or one human society. So right away Prabhupada begins by giving some endorsement and some validation to what we're trying to accomplish in the modern world, and saying, something has changed in our world today, and we're no longer bounded by the old geographical limits. The ideals of spiritual communism, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, are based more or less on the oneness of the entire human society, nay, of the entire energy of living beings. The need is felt by great thinkers to make this a successful ideology. Srimad Bhagavatam will fill this need in human society. It begins, therefore, with an aphorism of Vedanta philosophy, Janmadya se yataha, to establish the ideal of a common cause. So Prabhupada is saying this is the whole purpose of Bhagavatam, is it's providing the basis for unity amongst all human beings, which is our current need in human society, because we live in a world of great conflict, but also a great desire for unity. Human society at the present moment is not in the darkness of oblivion. It has made rapid progress in the fields of material comforts, education, and economic development throughout the entire world. Again, Prabhupada is not rejecting everything that we've achieved and that we work hard for in today's world. He's saying the world is not in the darkness of oblivion. We've made rapid progress in certain areas. But there is a pinprick somewhere in the social body at large. and therefore there are large-scale quarrels, even over less important issues. There is need of a clue as to how humanity can become one in peace, friendship, and prosperity with a common cause. Srimad Bhagavatam will fill this need, for it is a cultural presentation for the re-spiritualization of the entire human society. Such a beautiful phrase, right? It's a cultural presentation for the re-spiritualization of the entire human society. A wonderful motto, not just for Bhagavatam, but for everything we do as devotees. What are we trying to accomplish when we preach and when we teach others? It's a cultural presentation for the re-spiritualization of the entire human society. Srimad Bhagavatam should be introduced also in the schools and colleges, for it is recommended by the great student devotee Prahlad Maharaj in order to change the demoniac face of society. Komara acharet pradyo dharman bhagavataniha durlabham manusham janma taddapyadhruvam arthadham. So this is saying the same thing we were discussing last night, at the importance of beginning right from the start with children. Disparity in human society is due to lack of principles in a godless civilization. There is God, or the Almighty One, from whom everything emanates, by whom everything is maintained, and in whom everything is merged to rest. Material science has tried to find the ultimate source of creation very insufficiently, but it is a fact that there is one ultimate source of everything that be. This ultimate source is explained rationally and authoritatively in the beautiful Bhagavatam, or Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the transcendental science not only for knowing the ultimate source of everything, but also for knowing our relation with Him and our duty toward perfection of the human society on the basis of this perfect knowledge. It is powerful reading matter in the Sanskrit language, and it is now rendered into English elaborately, so that simply by a careful reading one will know God perfectly well. So much so that the reader will be sufficiently educated to defend himself from the onslaught of atheists. Right? So Prabhupada is promising, we study Bhagavatam well, we will know God perfectly well, and we will be able to defend Him from atheists. Over and above this, the reader will be able to convert others to accepting God as a concrete principle. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the definition of the ultimate source. It is a bona fide commentary on the Vedanta Sutra by the same author, Srila Vyasadeva, and gradually develops into 9 cantos up to the highest state of God realization. The only qualification one needs to study this great book of transcendental knowledge is to proceed step by step cautiously and not to jump forward haphazardly as with an ordinary book. It should be gone through chapter by chapter, one after another. The reading material is so arranged with the original Sanskrit text, its English transliteration, synonyms, translation, and purports, so that one is sure to become a God-realized soul at the end of finishing the first 9 cantos. Okay? So, there's the guarantee. One is sure to become a God-realized soul by the end of the first 9 cantos. Okay, so we can all try it out and see if it happens. The 10th canto is distinct from the first 9 cantos. So what happens after the 9th? Prabhupada is explaining. The 10th canto is distinct from the first 9 cantos because it deals directly with the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. One will be unable to capture the effects of the 10th canto without going through the first 9 cantos. The book is complete in 12 cantos, each independent, but it is good for all to read them in small installments, one after another. So Prabhupada explains the whole current situation, the purpose and goal of Srimad Bhagavatam, how the Bhagavatam provides a solution to that situation, and then the study method for how we should study it. It's a perfect preface. It's all the things that a preface should have in the beginning of the book. And then something about the translator himself. Prabhupada speaks about himself. I must admit my frailties in presenting Srimad Bhagavatam, but still I am hopeful of its good reception by the thinkers and leaders of society on the strength of the following statement of Srimad Bhagavatam. Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo Yasmin prati shlokamabhadbhavatyapi namanyanantasya yashonkitani yat shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhva. And the translation is, on the other hand, bad literature, which is full of description of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, form and pastimes of the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a transcendental creation meant for bringing about a revolution in the impious life of a misdirected civilization. Sometimes Prabhupada, he makes statements that are like, they're so powerful and so beautiful that you could put them up on the wall. You could frame them and put them up on the wall. You know? And this is one of those. It's one of my favorite in all of his books. He says, this Bhagavatam is a transcendental creation meant for bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. There's a sutra that captures everything. A revolution, but what kind of revolution? Not we go out with guns and weapons. Revolution, this is a spiritual revolution from the transcendental books. A revolution to bring about in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Beautiful, beautiful. Such transcendental literature, even though irregularly composed, is heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Om Tat Sat, A.C. Bhakti. So, really a beautiful preface. I encourage you to, when you have some time, to take your own time and read it again. Because every line is so carefully selected. It's almost like it's just made to be framed. You know, it's just every line is perfectly, every word is perfectly chosen. You can't move one word here and there. It's so nicely written. So this is what Prabhupada described as his mission for this. Srimad Bhagavatam itself describes in terms of its content, Krishna swadhamo pagate dharma jnanadibisa kalau nashtadrishamesha puranarko virodita. This Kali Yuga is like the darkness of night. Of all the 4 yugas, it's the darkest of all of them. And when Krishna leaves this world, then there are 2 things that leave with him. 5,000 years ago, when Krishna walked the earth, after he left, then 2 things left with him: dharma and jnana. Righteousness, good behavior, proper duty, and also knowledge, jnana. They left with him. And this left this world in a state of great darkness. And in darkness, none of us can see anything. Kalau nashta drishamesha, we're completely blind. But for our benefit, Puranarko dhunodita. This beautiful Bhagavatam has arisen like the sun, and it can provide light for this darkened age. The Bhagavatam is Brahma Samitam. It is directly Krishna himself. And each canto of the Bhagavatam is together, the entire Bhagavatam comprises Krishna's own body. In other words, when we read Bhagavatam, we are directly associating with Krishna. Not indirectly, but he's actually there in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's his body. And the first 2 cantos particularly, they're Krishna's lotus feet. And this is why Prabhupada explains we should always read Bhagavatam in order, because we want to, when we have darshan of the Lord, then the scriptures describe we should always begin with his lotus feet, have darshan of his feet first, and then we can move upward. But first we begin with his lotus feet. And as the first 2 cantos like this, and then each canto progresses upward and upward in his body, until you get to the 10th canto, which is his beautiful face, and the chapters of the Rasa Lila, which are Krishna's smile. And then for the 11th and 12th, you get his forehead and his crown. Krishna's own body. In fact, my spiritual master, Hanumat Preshaka Swami, he's a wonderful scholar and lover of Srimad Bhagavatam. And whenever, many times when he would visit Boise, he would ask us, in a class, he would say, so how many chapters are there in first canto Bhagavatam? And we'd all go, And then he said in second canto, what are the main stories covered in the first canto? So Shukadeva Goswami meets Maharaj Parikshit. Yes, what else? Is it Ashwatthama? Anyway, we would fail miserably. And then Maharaj would look at us. And he said, you know, if Krishna walked into this room, you would not be able to tell the difference between his feet and the feet of a buffalo. Because it's true, right? The Bhagavatam is Krishna's lotus feet. And what guarantee do we have that when Krishna comes into a room, we will be able to recognize him? We think, oh, just Krishna. We go to him and say, give me your darshan. Right? We just Krishna, give me your darshan. But suppose Krishna decided to give his darshan to us. What's the guarantee that we would even notice he was there? Means if you think about it, right, when Krishna actually walked the earth, Duryodhana saw him all the time. And he didn't recognize who Krishna was. He didn't actually see Krishna. He saw Krishna without seeing him. Right? He just thought, Duryodhana thought, oh, he's just, Krishna's special Mayavi. He's just he's really a magician. He can confuse everyone. But he's just a little bit better than me. I'm also a Mayavi. I can also do great things. Krishna's a little bit better. Right? This is how the demoniac thinking is. Every time Krishna appears, they just think, oh, he's good, but just like Hiranyaksha when he's saying Lord Varaha. Right? And he's thinking, oh, this is a big boar, right? Big boar. He's strong. Maybe my equal, maybe a little bit better, but I can deal with it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also comes, and people don't recognize him, right? As Krishna himself. He's there, he's unusual, so beautiful, so ecstatic, so amazing. He's a saint. Definitely a little better than me. But they don't recognize as Krishna. Means it's not easy to have darshan of Krishna. We have to make ourselves qualified to actually see Krishna. And the way to make ourselves qualified to see Krishna is through Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam explains that we do not see Krishna through our eyes. You know how we see Krishna? Through our ears. Right? Karna puteshu samritam. Krishna's darshan comes through the ears. Because that is how we know who he is. And we can recognize him when we see him. Then, if we understand Srimad Bhagavatam nicely, we don't have to wait till Krishna descends on the back of Garuda from the sky. We can go to our temple in Atlanta and we'll see Krishna there. Not a murti, not a deity. We'll see Krishna because we can recognize him now. Right? We can recognize him through the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam begins right away by making a very, very clear and strong statement of its content. This is verse number 2, Bhagavatam. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. Vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam tapatrayum moolanam. Shrimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim Va Parairishvara Sadyo Hridya Varudyate Kritibis Shushrushuvis Tatkshanat. Right away, Bhagavatam, in verse number 2, it says, this book, Dharma Projita Kaitava, it rejects Projita, all Kaitava Dharma, all cheating religion, all paths which cheat a human being. Now, let me ask you a question. What is cheating? If you had to give a general definition of cheating in all its form and variety in this world, how would you define cheating? What is cheating? Speculation, yes, one form of cheating. Deceiving. Yeah, what is
not true? That which is not.
That which is not?
False. Something not true.
Yes, false promises, something which is not true. Cheating means what? That you promise one thing and you deliver another, right? So, when someone says, "Oh, this is very valuable. This is a diamond. You should buy it," or you go to the street and you buy a Rolex watch off of someone, got a great deal on it, $100 Rolex watch, right? And then you come home and oh my God, shock! It's not a Rolex watch. It wasn't such a good deal. It's actually made of cheap plastic. So you feel cheated, right? Because you were expecting, you were promised something that valuable, and you got in return something that was very invaluable. Sorry, not invaluable, non-valuable. It was not useful at all. Now, in the matter of religion or life in this world, we all set out for what ultimately? We're all looking to be eternally happy, to be fully happy and fully satisfied. And this is why we set out to look for religion and look for spirituality. And then someone comes to us, someone turns around and says, here, do this, pray like this, and you will get a lot of money. You'll win the lottery. And we do it, and we make a lot of money. But what happens? The happiness we set out to look for, it never came. We don't feel satisfied, even after getting all of that. So means what? We were cheated. That path of religious life was a cheating process. Because we set out for the ultimate thing, we end up getting promised this. And we got something else in the end, we were cheated. But you know, in every cheating situation, there's two sides to the coin. It is no question that we feel really angry when we're cheated, yes? We feel so bad when you get cheated badly. Even if it's for a little sum, it feels really bad. How could he do that? How could he take that extra 100 rupees from me? It was not that. He cheated me. But you know, the blame for that, maybe 50% on that person's side. Maybe 75%. But there's always another side to the story. Yeah, we get cheated because we allow them to cheat us. Not only we allow it, but we look forward to it. That Rolex watch you bought on the street, it was $100, right? What were you hoping buying the $100 Rolex watch? That somehow I can get everything for nothing. Yes? I can get so much for so little. That's the definition of gambling. You know, gambling means, gambling doesn't mean you have to go do it in Las Vegas. Gambling means that you want this much, but you want to put in this much. You want a return that is unreasonable on the matter. If you put something, to deposit something into an account, if you get 1%, 4%, 7%, 10% return, okay, reasonable, you can expect it. But you deposit $1 and you expect $1,000 back, that is an unreasonable return, right? You're wanting everything for nothing. So means that person is a cheater. You get caught in this pyramid scheme, right? But you're also a cheater at heart. Because you're looking to cheat, right? Just from the other end. Let me get something. That person is thinking what? I'm going to get something for nothing. I'm going to cheat this person by giving him a piece of plastic for a Rolex watch. I'm going to get $100 for the cost of $2. And what are you thinking on the other end? Let me get something worth $1,000 for $100. It's the same idea on both ends, right? So Bhagavatam is saying, Dharma projita kaitava. We are rejecting any kind of cheating religion. That is a religion that promises the whole world to you for nothing. How many places can you go where someone will say, look, no need to adjust anything in your life, no need to change anything. You just come to me, give me a little dakshina, I'll give you some mantra, and 5 minutes of meditation every day and you'll be fine. You'll get moksha and complete peace of mind. So we say, yes, okay, I'm ready, sign me up. And on the other hand, if we say 4 regulative principles, no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, plus 16 rounds of Mahamantra every day, and do as much service as you possibly can. And if you're second initiated, then 3 times Gayatri also you should chant. And study Bhagavatam regularly also, and you can go back to God and you think, oh, too much. Just too much demand at this point. Right? So cheating mentality is there. Bhagavatam is saying, look, I'm not going to cheat you. But in the same verse, it says, if you want to study Bhagavatam, nirmatsaranam satam. This book is only for those who are nirmatsara. Those who don't have the envious mentality, who don't have the cheating mentality themselves. If you're looking for a cheap product, go somewhere else. Right? We only sell Rolexes here, genuine Rolexes. And you want something that looks like a Rolex, but it's not a Rolex, you want something cheap, there's plenty of hawkers on the street, you can go there. Bhagavatam is saying we're giving you the most valuable thing and we're not going to apologize for it. We're not going to say, I'm so sorry it's really expensive. Because this is what it is. We've opened a diamond shop. And Prabhupada says, many places, he says, not everyone will come into a diamond shop or a jeweler's shop. Everyone goes to a gas station, right? Doesn't matter who it is. Everyone shows up at the gas station. But very few people come to the diamond shop. So we're giving something valuable for that. You have to sacrifice something valuable. You have to be ready for it. But don't be cheap, right? Don't be cheap. We have to be ready to make a commitment for it. Now don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a place for gas stations in the world, right? There's a place for Walmarts in the world. If you want a particular kind of, you're looking to buy toilet paper, why will you want toilet paper encrusted in gold and diamonds? Pointless. Or you want a simple grocery, Kroger is good for it, Publix is good for it. There's a place for everything in the world. But what Bhagavatam is saying is that here you're not going to find any of that. This is not your convenience store. This is a diamond shop. So come here if you're looking for the absolute truth. Vedyam Vastavam. That which is worth knowing and which is real. That's what we offer you. And this is another one of Prabhupada's quotable quotes, his frameable quotes. This line, Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam. He translates this line. You know how he translates it? Beautiful. It's a definition of knowledge. He says, knowledge is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such a beautiful definition of knowledge. We were talking last night about the information age and the internet and all of that. And we so often confuse information with knowledge. I got a lot of information, a lot of data, now I know. Bhagavatam is saying, no, what is knowledge? Reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Now, two parts to this definition. The first part, reality distinguished from illusion. Okay, that makes some intuitive sense. That if you're looking for knowledge, it has to be true, it has to be real, and you have to be able to separate it out from what is fake, what is not real. Reality distinguished from illusion. But then Bhagavatam adds a second qualification on knowledge. That's not enough. For it to be truly knowledge, it has to be also for the welfare of all. It has to be beneficial to others. It has to be beneficial to the world. Just because something is factual doesn't make it knowledge. And we live in a world where examples of that are everywhere. Where we have all kinds of technology and all kinds of reality that is factual, no doubt, but is it beneficial? Maybe not. The car is based on solid technology of engines and combustion and everything. Is it beneficial for the world? Maybe, some things, but it's also destroying our planet. Same thing, we gave the example of nuclear energy. Is it good for the world? Maybe, but it also has the potential to destroy the world. Just the fact that you've discovered it doesn't make it knowledge. It's how you use it that makes it knowledge. If something is knowledge, it's beneficial. If it's not beneficial, it's not knowledge. And so the Bhagavad is saying, in this book, you will not only find what is true, but also what is ultimately good for you. And if it's not good for you, you're not going to find it here. And so, if you're looking for any watered down idea of what the absolute truth is, don't look here. It's not going to be found in this book. Go somewhere else. And this is Vyasadeva speaking. Right? Vyasadeva has written all of the Vedic literature up to this point. The Vedas, the Upanishads, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, all of that, he's presented all the Puranas, and now he's saying, look, all of that is good. If you want something lesser, go there. If you want something less than a diamond, go there. But not here. In other words, he has a right to say it because he wrote all of those books. You know, in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, with Narada Muni meets Vyasadeva, Vyasadeva is so despondent. He's so sad. He's a successful author. He's written so many books, and his books are, forget the greatest hits, right? His books have practically directed the course of civilization. Thousands of people have lived their lives by it. Any author would consider themselves a success. But Vyasadeva is sad. Why? Because he says, I don't get any happiness from these books. I don't feel satisfied. And when Narada Muni, his spiritual master, comes and sees his condition, he says exactly the same thing. He says, my dear Vyasadeva, the reason you're not happy is because you've cheated the public. You've presented what is not a diamond, and they will consider it a diamond. They'll take it like that, and it's fake. It's not going to make them ultimately happy. The pursuit of happiness in this material world, no matter how polished, even the pursuit of moksha or liberation, when it's without any concept of service to the Lord, cannot satisfy the soul. So all of these people will be unhappy, and when they're unhappy, they will come looking to you and say, what happened? And you will be unhappy. And at that point, Narada Muni, he says about Vyasadeva's earlier literature, he says, this is all jugupsita. He uses the word jugupsita. In Sanskrit, the word jugupsita means despicable. It's a really heavy word. Despicable. It's horrible, useless. And he's describing the books he's written. It means Mahabharata. He's saying jugupsita. What is this you've written? So much volume, 100,000 verses just to get to 700 verses of the Gita? I mean, can you not present the truth more directly? Please, yes, the essence is there, but look at how much you have to work through to get to it. Right? All of this, you have to get to Gita, finally. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not despicable. At a certain level, like I said, there's a need for Walmart in the world. Right? At a certain level, these books are useful because they give us some basic understanding, and for many people that is as much as we need at this point in our spiritual development. But from the perspective of the Bhagavatam, from the perspective of the pure devotee, it doesn't look any good. From that perspective, it is Jugupsita. Means Shukadev Goswami would not come close to it. All the other stuff. He'll say, look, I've already moved all beyond that. I've given up the world. I've given up my family. I've never touched any sense gratification in this world. And you want me to read about politics and intrigue and, you can have it.